Welcome to Taking a Walk, an excursion to converse, connect, and catch up at a cool location with some of the most interesting people you can find. Here's Buzz Knight.
So this is part 2 of Taking a Walk here at Fresh Pond with my friend Steve Sweeney. And we're having a great day here, great walk, great conversation. A lot of amazing dogs around here.
We're just sitting here, and this dog decided to rest next to us.
It's so cool.
And he's breathing pretty heavy.
He's got a big coat.
Why don't we walk again?
Yeah.
We've been sitting on the bench.
Do you have a dog, Steve?
I've got 2 of them. And they're not happy that I'm here without them, believe me.
What kind of dogs?
I got 2 Goldens. They're my 3rd and 4th Goldens, and they're wonderful. Zorba and Layla. Now, Layla is the greatest rock and roll song of all time. And then Zorba is my favorite book, Zorba the Greek.
That's cool.
And the movie with Anthony Quinn, Nikos Kazantzakis.
That's awesome.
I love to read. That's one thing I love to do. And I like to read actual books. I don't like Kindle and all that.
The short, there's something called short form that takes books and reduces 300 pages to 10. I don't think you'd be a fan of that.
But that's all plot, you know?
Yeah.
When you read the book, you get into the feeling of the place and the language and the characters, the dialogue, you know.
Do you remember the first time you read Catcher in the Rye?
Catcher in the Rye was sort of first year in college, but the book I think that really influenced me the most, I think I was only like 12, was Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, and I can remember weeping at the end of it.
Really?
And that feeling of not wanting a book to end, it was great. And I remember when I was a kid, like 7, 8, there used to be this series called Chip Hilton, who was a sports guy and played all these sports, and you have those dreams. That's why I picked Fresh Pond. When I was young, I can remember being right over a spot to our left and looking at the clouds, you know, lying down looking at the clouds. You know how you do that?
Yep.
And I said, someday I want to go to Montana. And I did, you know. Glacier National Park up there. And so this was a place that I had a lot of dreams. And then in my height of my addiction, came up here and did cocaine. And it was so obscene, you know, because here we are in this beautiful natural spot. But anyway, that was in the past.
Did you know, when was the moment that said, I gotta get on the straight and narrow? I mean, did you have one pivotal moment?
There was a lot of them, but there was a moment. I worked at Nick's Comedy Stop, and across the street was this bar called Dominic's, and the time it was the Combat Zone, not the theater district. So I said, oh my God, it just hit me. It's like when you were in Sedona, like it hit you. And sometimes you just know. You know, your mind keeps talking, well, what's the logical sense of this? But that feeling of knowing.
Yeah.
And it really hit me. I can't stop. I'm on my 3rd beer. I can't fucking stop.
Mm-hmm.
And it scared the shit out of me. And I knew I was like killing myself, so anyway.
So the first time you met these Farrelly guys, can you remember that? And
there was a guy named John Dennis. Remember John Dennis?
Yeah, radio guy.
He invited
TV
me to play golf, and I played with Bobby and Peter. And we hit it off right away. The 80s was a big time for stand-up. And Peter knew me, and Bobby knew me, and we're like great friends now. And Peter wrote me a text that, I wish you could frame text, that he said, thank you for this movie, you did a stellar job. And he said, you have inspired me for a lot of years. And it was like, I don't know how I did that, but it was because he inspires me. He's the most generous person and absolutely brilliant. If you saw Green Book and all the comedies, and he's going in a different direction. That to me is very inspiring, when somebody takes their life and just follows their own path and goes in another direction as a serious director, and he's worked with everybody, and So I look back on my career. I worked with Denzel Washington, John Travolta. I was friends with George Carlin, Peter Falk. I don't mean to bother you. You remember Peter Falk?
Sure.
I'll tell you a quick story. Did a movie called it's on demand called The Money Kings. So it was originally called The Big. So I would be doing that movie during the week, and then on weekends I'd come back to the Kowloon. So we're shooting this in New York, and Peter said to me at the end of the shooting, you know, I've known a lot of people, met a lot of people in this business, but I gotta tell you, you by far, Sweeney, you are the most fucked up human being. It was beautiful. When I look back on it, I look on it as a fan, you know, like I did The Equalizer with Denzel. And one night we got to talk, and we were having a conversation like you and I are having a conversation. So I'm pretending I'm just having a conversation. In the back of my mind, I'm saying, I'm fucking talking to Denzel Washington. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's amazing.
I guess it'd be like talking to Springsteen or something, because they become so much a part of your life, and then you meet them, and they want you to be normal.
Well, so
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to tell a story
Give
about...
me an example of that in your life. You've met a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you an example that it falls under the category of regrets.
Okay.
And I don't really have tremendous regret.
Right.
I'm grateful for my life and what I have, and I'm probably not grateful enough in some moments, but I try to practice gratitude. But I do have a regret. We went to see Bob Dylan many years ago. This is Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's freaking Bob Dylan. And right before the show, the label guy says, we're going upstairs. There's about 9 of us that were at dinner. We're going to go see Bob. It's like, no. So we go up there, and Bob was introduced to us, and he makes eye contact only then when he met us.
Yeah.
And then
I understand.
No eye contact after that.
Yeah.
But he does say to us, ugh, anyone want to do a shot of whiskey?
Oh, really? Oh, good for him.
No one did it. We were petrified because we were saying, that's the voice of a generation. I don't want to, have a shot. Like everybody was afraid, which is kind of like, so I kid with people saying that's my only regret. And I can't think of really many others. I wish I did the shot with Bob, but for all I know, I would have made a babbling fool of myself and embarrassed myself in front of the voice of a generation.
We're very lucky to have, but he's a very private guy, and I can understand why. I saw him on 60 Minutes. He said he was Ed Bradley was interviewing him, and he said, even up here in Woodstock, he said, no one leaves me alone. He said, they come to the door, and you can look it up on 60 Minutes. They asked me things about organic farming, and Ed Bradley says, well, what do you know about organic farming? And he says, not a thing. But he said he goes into a restaurant, and it's so weird because half the people are trying to say, is that him? Is that not him? It's hard being Bob Dylan.
Oh my God. It's got to be incredibly hard. Did you get to check out the Beatles special?
No, I want to.
Yeah.
I have, it's funny because I'm addicted to the Beatles and all that. And when they broke up, John Lennon, to me, came off as so bitter and such a prick and pissing on all the years they did. And then I always liked Paul anyway. And it turns out George has a dark side and the whole thing. So I love the Beatles. It's kind of weird seeing them as human beings, isn't it?
Yeah, and
I didn't see it. Did you see it?
Yes, I absolutely loved it. And,
good.
And you see it you see them as people in a different way. I mean,
they grew up together. They were old buddies in Charlestown or where you grew up. You know?
And you know what's cool about the special is they were filming for this 2-week period pretty much everything. And there's some people who say, well, they're mugging for the cameras and they're not really in a natural, you know, sort of way. But the cameras were rolling constantly. So you do see some, you know, darkness, some, you know, bitterness, some, you know, some struggles. But one of the great things about the special, and there's many, is we were always led to believe at that point that things were really nasty then.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what? They were still
fooling around.
Yeah. They clearly enjoyed being with each other. So it really...
But what is she doing? She's just sitting there on the fucking speaker, Yoko?
She's just knitting. She's like reading the newspaper. There's almost like a bit you could do.
But I mean, but why is she there? George said that.
She clearly, I don't know, it feels like she just had to be there because John was there and John needed
making a statement.
A security blanket. It was a statement. But it didn't seem to affect their collaboration.
Well, you know, Ringo, I saw in an interview, and he said to John, he said, what the fuck is this? This is creeping me out. We never have anybody here.
Yeah.
And then, according to Ringo, John explained it, and then it was okay. And Paul always puts a good spin on everything, and he said he was glad they became friends again. But Paul was on Howard Stern or something, and he called up Yoko, and he said, you know, I think John would want us to be nice to each other, whatever. And she said, well, don't do me any favors. And so he said, I saw her as cold and pushy. Then, of course, being Paul, he changes around. Now I don't see her that way, you know.
Right. Paul wants to get along with everybody now. Although, did you hear he called the Rolling Stones a blues cover band?
You know, I think that was blown out of proportion, too.
I do agree.
See, it's...
soundbite.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if you say 1,000 sentences, and they take one, and, you know.
I agree.
I mean, we take our heroes so seriously. But I always liked Paul because he seemed to keep it together, and he explained on Howard Stern, he was trying to tell them, we could lose all our frickin' money here with these lawyers and everything, you know. And
who were some of your other favorite?
I love Mark Knopfler. I buy every one of his solo albums, and the first listening, I remember this, when I was on the air, you brought in Sailing to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And we played that song, one song, and usually with his albums you listen 2 or 3 times, but now it's just, sometimes the first time you hear something you love it, but with his albums they grow on you and grow on you and grow on you. Are you a Mark Knopfler fan?
Love Mark Knopfler.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with you too. It's just, it's like a fine, you know, a fine wine, if you will. It's just, it's amazing, you know.
Now, I like Van Morrison, I'm a huge fan, but I'm usually disappointed in his last maybe 5 albums.
Yeah.
I don't know. My favorite album of Van is Hymns to the Silence, which is not everybody's favorite. It's a double white album. It's got the Chieftains on it, and it's great. So I like Mark, I like Van. I love that the Stones are still doing it. I mean, I can't believe Mick Jagger's 80 and he's fucking running around the stage. To me, that's inspiring. So
I think music is so amazing if you think about it, because it's this unifying force that, you know, it pulls at your heart, and you could be crying at something that it's so beautiful or touching or evokes a memory, or it just lifts you up if you're in a down moment, and just it's an amazing elixir.
Do you find yourself listening to the same stuff all the time?
I do at times, but I go through cycles. I just recently went through a big Steely Dan cycle.
Oh, I love Steely Dan.
And you know, got my wife really interested in it. She was never really a big Steely Dan fan, and then suddenly, I mean, it's amazing the fact that you can, you know, get your Sonos and play your music through there, and you know, this idea of you know, Spotify or Apple. Well, it's like going to Tower Records and picking anything out.
I got a recommendation for you.
Yeah, love it.
They're a country band, but they do covers. They're called the Mavericks.
Oh yeah, saw them play once.
This guy has got a voice that is otherworldly. It reminds me of Roy Orbison. Mm-hmm. And they do a version of, it was right after one of those terrible shootings we have of How Can You Break a Broken Heart, you know, by Bee Gees, and they do Hungry Heart, and their whole band is just about joy. You know, they just kind of like George Thorogood, you know, it's just a show.
Yeah.
Well, it's been fun talking to you.
Well, my God, Steve, this has been really tremendous. Let's just close on this. So
okay.
We've been taking a walk here on Fresh Pond.
Yeah.
Any other places you like taking a walk? And could be in Boston, it could be anywhere.
I'll tell you a town that's always had mystic like resonance for me. Lincoln. Lincoln to me is like, I was living here in Cambridge, Cogswell Ave. You go out there and say, like, this is the country, you know. Lincoln reminds me of Vermont or whatever. It's a beautiful walk. Lincoln, Mass, up by the Corvida Museum, or just the downtown. You've been there.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nearby where I live.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when you get older, all you're thinking about is how much would it cost to live in this fucking place. You know,
right.
You know
what
I mean?
Yeah, especially now.
I mean, you know. But yeah, walking is a wonderful thing. There's a wonderful book called, I forget what it's called, but it's walking on the Appalachian Trail. You know that guy, the travel writer, and yeah.
Well, Steve, thank you for taking a walk. I appreciate your generosity.
Or golf, a good walk wasted, right?
Exactly. So it's nice to reconnect. And I wish you well, my friend.
And you know what? We are just getting started. That's how I feel. You know, I feel like I'm just getting started.
Thanks for the inspiration, and thanks for the friendship.
All right, buddy.
Good health.
Taking a Walk with Buzz Knight is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.